This is the WildHellLands. This is what happens when you mix some Hellscape and some Wildlands and throw it in a cavern. So maybe it's WildHellLands Cavern. I don't know. But who cares what it's called? This is awesome. So this is to show you the compatibility between Wildlands, mountains particularly, with caverns and Hellscape. So we're going to start up here in the front area in our hellish magma fiery zone here. So right out of the gate, so it's mostly Hellscape bits, but we have over here, we've got a black rot tree, and this thing, although it's from Wildlands, it fits right in here in Hellscape. Maybe it's an actual tree that got blackened when magma came flying through, or maybe it's some sort of weird evil devil tree, or maybe it's a treant that was corrupted by devils. So we got two of those. We got one over there and one in the back here, and they fit right in. They feel like they're part of this Hellscape. So the rest of this is mostly just classic Hellscape, but here you can see the transition from the Hellscape transitions into these mountain pieces wonderfully. I was really kind of happy how the flow from one into the other, both over here and transition up, just like this sheer, you're trying to be this like terribly daunting sheer cliff face, and I'm sure it's probably a cavern wall face, right? The idea is this whole thing is subterranean, but it should look pretty scary to your players. So I also took Wyverstone, and the whole top of this is dressed with Wyverstone to continue kind of the up energy that we're getting from all of this, from the Tri-Spire and from the rest of the Hellscape. It's sort of up, makes it feel very much like a barricade that can't be crossed. And then in the center of it, we have the Hellgate here, and the Hellgate is sort of set right into this mountainous side. So I'm thinking this was built by Drugar to sort of guard this forbidden cavern. So let's go see what is beyond the gate here. Exiting through the Hellgate, come over here. There's this cool little, using the winding stairs up there to get out of this pit. And this whole thing is right flanked by, the inside is flanked by mountain walls. So the whole purpose of this whole back section here was to mix mountain pieces and cavern pieces and see how it works. And I was really thrilled with the results. So let's go right up here first. We have sort of dressing up these, the mountains pieces with some Wyverstone, then having the Wyverstone kind of spill down onto the caverns pieces to kind of have that continuity. Then a couple little bits of caverns dressing to put on here to help make the escarpments blend with everything. So let's pop these out so we can actually see what's going on. All right, so I was kind of using the Wyverstone and stalagmites to dress this up, make it feel more caverny. And then sort of repeated that theme throughout this. So working our way over here. Oh, and we have the lanterns hanging off to make it feel like a mine. The theory is maybe this was the forbidden chamber where the Drugar harvested crystals and Wyverstone and other stuff, and now it's long abandoned. All that's left are their stairs. Somehow these lanterns are still burning, and now there's strange plants in here. But we'll get to this. The floor of this is on 3 mock battle boards. The final texture and art will be a little closer to the pieces, but this gives you an idea of how you could integrate battle boards to get a bunch of coverage quickly and elevate everything up, right? Because we lifted this whole thing on some stilts to get us up 50 millimeters so we could have this whole thing raised, and then it drops back down again. So lots of good coverage from 3 battle boards. So working our way over here, we've got mountain escarpment, and then nestled up against it, we have this nice mix of, here's the mountain's stepstone insert against a stairway to violence with the Wyverstone platform on top of it with a stalagmite on top of that. So it really kind of gives you this mix and match of mountain. Oh, and there's a little Wyverstone crystal there too. It's a real mix and match between mountain and caverns. So it all, I think it feels pretty cohesive, right? So it could just be one cool flow of rocks. And it builds this really neat stairs up to the Oblivion Nexus here with the Moam, the mother of all mushrooms, here on top of the Oblivion Nexus, kind of nestled in. All the Wyverstone pulsing here in the center of the Oblivion Nexus. And it looks right at home there, right? And then we've sort of mixed a combination of the Sorrowness and the Cadaver Cap mushrooms and Wyverstone in among this to make they feel like they're all part of this weird, eerie plant family, right? The Sorrowness and the Cadaver Caps and the Moam all feel like they could be from the same family. Creepy purple plant family? Who doesn't like that family? There's the mountain escarpment pieces with then Caverns wall pieces on top, and I took this is a trifecta ledge, just used to dress up the front of the Caverns pieces to really just have it flow nicely back and forth. And we go from escarpments to Caverns pieces back to escarpments. Here, a little ledge wedge up against these. I think the flow between the Caverns pieces and the mountains pieces it's pretty seamless. Working our way along here, there's saying more escarpments, and they're covered with, in this case, we put some of the freestanding crystals from the crystal caverns and more of the cadaver cap mushrooms there. Before we get to because we have this little guy. This is just the mountain jumpy stone with the little water pool, water pot piece on top, and it looks just like a cavern water formation. All right, so this chunk in the middle here, this is a mix of end cap pieces with the stalagmite. It fits, look at this. So I took the end cap piece here, put the towering stalagmites on it, and it makes it feel like it's all created by dripping water. So it's just taking a bunch of cavern scatter and dressing up this mix of these are caverns pieces and mountains pieces to make it all feel very cavernous. Forth. Then up front here, we've got the spreading spore claw from the swamp, which felt like it could be some sort of creepy subterranean plant. Sure, it's got a lot of greenery around it, but I don't know, maybe it's some sort of weird underground lichen or something. And then dressing it around with the cadaver caps to kind of make it all feel like this weird planty zone down here. Working our way back past these guys, we go down to this sort of sunken area here. So I'm using the escarpments to transition us from the 50 millimeter elevation down, and then the trifecta ledge and into caverns floors. So we have a nice mix of the caverns floors flow right into the escarpments and up, which works pretty well. I threw some wyver stone in there, so it kind of ties together the caverns. And then this is kind of a nice, it's taking the long caverns natural bridge, and it's just connecting it from a caverns piece over to the escarpments. Also dressing up the mountain escarpments with a couple of stalagmites to make it feel more cavernous, and same thing using the mushrooms again. So it's basically using all this little cavern scatter to kind of tie it all together. And then we've continuing down here, we've got a bunch of more caverns bits with, we use these LED socket rocks all over the place to put the lanterns in, and they fit pretty nicely down here. Even this is the viscolid, which looks like, even though it's from the swamp, it looks like it could be at home in a weird subterranean environment. And this guy, the shimmer frond, again, it could be just a weird underground plant, right? The Underdark has all sorts of weird plants. And then we sort of have a nice transition between caverns pieces right into the escarpment. So we're using the concave, so the concave as a cave, which is fitting inside a caveception perhaps, and then dressing that up with some more scatter bits, some of the crystals. So this area here is this like crazy Frankenstein amalgamation of pieces from different sets. So we have Soul Cage on top. This is the Hellscape Soul Cage on top of Stairway to Violence from Caverns Deep. The Stairway to Violence is on top of the Oblong Crag. On the back, it's got the 1-inch cliff piece and the corner fill stalagmite to kind of round that out, make it feel cave-like. And then nestled up against it is Riser B, I think this is Riser B, with a little wyver stone cluster on there to tie together all the wyver stone. And that kind of boom, 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 steps up, 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 and then it continues up. So it's kind of a neat flow between rocks. It feels pretty natural. And let's pop that out so we can see what's behind it. And finally, the last section is this chunk back here. So the center of it here is these are the new winding stairs, right? And I nestled them right up against, this is the base, this is the Stairway to Violence base piece. And it sits so nicely against this. They feel very similar, right? They could totally both be in the cave here, right? And then I'm using some cavern scatter, some of the crystals and stalagmites to kind of tie the stairs in with the cave theme. I threw caverns banks against the front there, sort of soften the edge going up. And we have another one of these socket rocks on here, finding the cool lantern to give us a little mood, a little light. And then these stairs sort of wind our way up, and we have a nice mix of escarpments with caverns floors. So this is like crystal floor, this is regular floor, and it flows, once again, flows super smoothly into this cool crystal area. So we have a bunch of the crystal caverns pieces here, some of the regular caverns pieces, and then there's some wyverstone interspersed here with the crystals. So in this corner we have a planar pylon nestled in this crystal alcove, make it the super magical area. And then caverns pieces on top of the escarpments, transitioning us back down. So very happy with how all the stuff lives together and feels like one big cohesive underground terrible this would be a fun place to play, right? There could definitely be all sorts of danger in here. Perhaps the Drogar come back, they're on lunch break, they come back in through, they've got these two passages we could come in through, bloop, 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 these two passages. It could be a fight, nice multi-level fight, lots of different areas you could battle in, all sorts of crazy MacGuffins to deal with, and mostly everything just fitting together in one big epic build that would be fun to play in. And I hope this inspires you and gives you a bunch of ideas of what you can do with your Wildlands pieces in conjunction with a bunch of your other pieces. Ta-ta!